I've never been one to believe in ghost stories, the supernatural, spirits, curses whispered on Halloween. No. I was the kind of person who laughed at campfire tales, the one who turned up the music louder when someone tried to scare me. That night was no different. Halloween was supposed to be about fun costumes, drinks, and bad horror movies. But I learned, in the worst possible way, that some stories aren't stories at all. They're warnings. It started at a party. The house belonged to a guy named Derek, a friend of a friend. One of those big, old suburban homes with a long wraparound porch and cheap orange lights strung across the railings. Pumpkins lined the steps, their carved faces flickering in the cold October wind. Fake cobwebs tangled in the shrubs, skeletons hung from the roof, and someone had even set up a fog machine near the front lawn. The smell of pumpkin beer, cheap vodka, and cigarettes hung in the air, and the bass from the speakers made the wooden porch vibrate beneath my feet. Inside, the living room was packed wall to wall with people in costumes. Zombies, witches, vampires. Someone dressed as a vampire-witch-zombie hybrid. I was dressed simply a leather jacket, fake blood on my face, fangs I bought last minute at the convenience store. I remember thinking it was all a bit silly. But I was there because my best friend, Sam, had begged me not to spend another Halloween alone in my apartment. I danced. I shouted over the music. And as the night grew later, the party grew louder. Someone knocked over a bowl of punch. A guy in a skeleton mask started juggling glow sticks in the middle of the living room. Upstairs, a group of girls screamed not from fear, but from some drinking game gone wrong. It was chaos, the good kind, warm, dizzying, and a little unreal. I glanced at my phone at some point. 1:43 a.m. I should have called a cab then. But the night air outside the window looked crisp and still, and Miller's Field was only a 15-minute walk to my place. A shortcut. I'd walked through it countless times in the daytime. It was nothing more than a cornfield on the edge of town. The idea of taking the long way around through the main streets felt like a waste of time. Besides, I'd laughed at all those cursed scarecrow stories 1,000 times. I wasn't about to let a children's tale make me take the long route home. As people started to stumble out of the house, I waved goodbye to Sam. I gave him a thumbs up and stepped out into the night. The air was sharp, the kind that bit at your skin. Fallen leaves crunched under my boots. The streets were quiet now, just distant music fading behind me. Halloween decorations dangled from porches like silent witnesses. I zipped up my jacket and shoved my hands into my pockets, humming the last song that had been playing inside the house. When I reached the edge of Miller's Field, I hesitated. The entrance was nothing more than a narrow dirt path between tall, dry corn stalks. In the moonlight, the field looked endless, a sea of brittle, yellow, and black shadows. A wooden sign leaned crookedly at the entrance. The paint faded almost to nothing. Someone had spray painted across it in red. Turn. Back. Typical small-town prank. I chuckled, shaking my head. Real original. But as I stepped onto the path, the sound around me shifted. The distant hum of the neighborhood faded. The crickets fell silent. Even the breeze seemed to die. All that was left was the brittle whisper of the stalks swaying in the wind. Locals loved to tell stories about this place. They said a farmer once made a deal with something dark, something that lived in the soil. When the harvest failed, the farmer built a scarecrow unlike any other, and on Halloween night, it walked the field, looking for someone to replace the soul it guarded. Each year, someone would vanish. Teenagers on dares, drunks taking shortcuts. I had rolled my eyes every time I'd heard it. The field lay in silence, the cornstalks dry and brittle, rustling faintly as I stepped between the rows. Shadows stretched long and sharp under the pale moonlight, and the wind seemed to murmur warnings that I didn't understand. My footsteps stirred a fragile echo through the stalks, brushing against my arms as if the plants themselves were trying to hold me back. I laughed nervously, telling myself it was just the wind, just my imagination. And then I saw it. At first, it looked like nothing more than a scarecrow, slouched on its post at the center of the field. Its head was a burlap sack, stitched with a crooked, unnatural grin, old clothes stuffed with straw. But the moment I truly looked at it, something felt wrong. Its shoulders were too broad, its limbs too long. The head tilted at a strange, impossible angle, like it was observing me with intent. I tried to keep moving, telling myself not to stop, not to look back. But when I tore my eyes away and glanced ahead, it had moved. Closer. It never made a sound, no creak of wood, no snap of straw, just a presence. The rustle of the corn stalks seemed to follow it, whispering as though alive. Closer still, 10 feet away. 5. My legs froze, my chest burning with panic. My mind screamed to run, yet my body felt leaden, weighed down by some unseen force. Then, instinct finally overtook paralysis. I bolted, tearing through the stalks blindly, my breath ragged, and my heart hammering as the field seemed to stretch endlessly around me. When I finally stumbled into the light of the street lamps, gasping for air, I dared to look back. The scarecrow was gone. Relief washed over me. Perhaps it had all been imagination, a trick of the dark, my own panic manifesting into a shape in the field. I reached home and slammed the door behind me, laughing at myself for being such a fool. I leaned against the wall, trying to steady my shaking hands and calm my racing heart. Then I heard it. A soft, deliberate tap against the window pane. My laughter died instantly. I forced myself to look. There it was. The scarecrow. Its burlap face stretched into that grotesque grin, wider than before. Its straw fingers scraped along the glass, leaving ghostly streaks. My stomach turned, my mind scrambling to make sense of what I was seeing. Then, the blood ran cold. My reflection was gone. The thing staring back at me through the glass wasn't outside at all. It was inside. I stumbled back, my heart hammering as I scrambled for the door. But it was too late. The air in the room thickened, heavy, with the smell of decaying straw and wet earth. Shadows pooled in the corners, moving with a life of their own. The scarecrow stepped off the windowsill, or perhaps it had always been there, unseen until now, and the floorboards groaned under its impossible weight. It didn't speak, but its presence spoke volumes. I could feel it probing my mind, searching, learning, sizing me up. My instincts screamed to fight, to run, yet I could barely move. Its stitched grin widened as if mocking my terror. I stumbled backward, tripping over furniture, my hands clawing at the floor, and in the dim light, I saw it clearly. The limbs were too long, too angular. The burlap face, it shifted subtly, blinking with dark, soulless eyes that glimmered with malice. Panic surged as I yanked the door open and ran. The scarecrow followed, silent, a nightmare of straw and shadow. I slammed the door behind me and tore into the night, lungs burning. At my apartment, I thought I was safe, until I saw it in the window, its stitched grin wider, straw fingers scraping, dark eyes boring into me. It wasn't outside, it was inside. Halloween would never feel safe again. So, moral of the story is, curiosity can be deadly. Some doors are meant to stay closed.